And welcome to Our Time.
What are you laughing at?
You. Because we always wait to be told to start.
I know.
And we always, now we're going to grin and look crazy.
And who's going to say hello first?
Exactly.
So, on today's program, we have Mr. Australia. He's a big boy.
He is. I've known him since he was a baby.
Nice.
Christopher Jarvis is on. So is Gary Dickinson from AA Family Motors. And right now, here's Sue with author Bella Buchanan.
Thanks, Malcolm and Janice. Yes, I've been thinking recently about this program and how we talk about lots and lots of different things that people like to do when they reach our certain age. And it strikes me that many of us have unfulfilled dreams and ambitions when we reach sort of retirement or semi-retirement, things that we would like to have done throughout life, but it's never been possible because we've been busy working or having children, rearing children or whatever. I'd like to introduce you now to a lady who has done something that she wanted to do for quite some time. Her name is Bella Buchanan. Welcome to the program, Bella.
Thank you, Sue.
Bella is now a published author, and you must feel very, very proud about that.
I'm very proud of what I achieved.
Yes.
And quite surprised, actually.
Well, tell me, your story is that you worked full-time
Yes.
and have been working all of your life and then reached a certain age and thought, I want to write.
It was about a year after I gave up work. I started writing purely for my own pleasure. I picked romance because I was reading a lot of romance at the time. And about a year or so later, I went to the South Australian Writers' Centre, and they recommended the South Australian Romance Authors Group, who are probably the best thing I ever did was joining them. They're a very supportive group, very encouraging. Through them, I joined the Romance Writers of Australia and started going to conferences. And the ladies, Sarah, encouraged me to pitch to an editor, which I did for about 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
And in 1914, Flo Nicol from Harlequin, UK, asked me for a partial.
2014.
14.
Yes, you said 19.
Oh, I'm going back a bit far.
Historical.
She asked me to send a partial, which is 3 chapters and a synopsis. And later she came back and asked me for a full manuscript.
She liked your style.
She liked the style and the story.
Yes.
And we worked on that for over a year.
Yes.
And then they offered me a contract for 2 books.
How exciting. Yes. So this is the book, the first book. It's called Bound by the Unborn Baby, and it's by Bella Buchanan. And it's an interesting title because that was one of the questions I was going to say. Romance novels can have a sameness about them, and yet this is something that you've hit on that's quite topical. It's based on a surrogacy issue, which is quite a topical thing at the moment, and yet it's still a romance novel. Can you tell us a little bit about the story? Without, of course, doing a spoiler or anything. You know.
Basically, she offers to be a surrogate for some friends.
And this is the main character?
Yes.
Alina Fletcher. Yeah.
She, just after they confirm that she's pregnant, the birth parents are killed in an accident.
Oh my
so
goodness.
She goes to, they're in Spain, they live in Spain, so she comes to Australia to the female's brother to tell him that she's carrying this baby, to let the family know. And he insists that they get married to give the baby the family name.
I see.
So basically it goes on from there.
Interesting story, interesting storyline. Have you found that challenging over the years that you've now been writing? When did you start? When did you start writing?
About 2009.
Yes. So we're 2016. So do you find challenges with so many romance novels around, finding something that has that point of difference?
I just go with what's in my head at the time. When I started writing, it was very raw. And now I've learnt, especially working with Flo from Harlequin, how to get the points across and the highlights, the danger points and things.
keep us turning pages, I
That's
guess,
right,
too.
yes.
Yeah, so this
Yes.
is available online. Is it?
Online.
Online, yes. And it's also available in bookstores. Yes. It's also available as a double for Mills and Boon. This one has a second story with it, The Bridesmaid's Baby Bump, and Bound by the Unborn Baby by Bella Buchanan. Bella, you mentioned the group here in locally who support you. Are these other people who are very much in the same situation as you, who have suddenly become writers, or have they been writing
it's
for
a
years?
mixture of people from, some of the ladies have been published for about 10 years or so. They write all romance, but it can be historical, contemporary, fantasy, and like I said, some from starting to publishing. Some of them self-publish. So it's a
Yes,
mixture.
that's another way of doing it too. Have you always had an interest in English and in writing? Something you've been doing for years?
Not really. I've always had the stories and the plots and things in my head, but life took on.
Well, that's what it does. That's what I was saying in the beginning. I think so many of us are bogged down in our everyday lives, and we just don't have the opportunities to sit and let our creativity flow. And I'm sure there are a lot of our viewers out there who are thinking, hang on a minute, you know, I've got this storyline. I always do it, but I do it a lot with children's. That's always been my thing, children's television and children's novels and children's picture books and things like that. And I've got little grandchildren, so I tend to think of little plots that they could do on a simplified way. But this one has already been published, and clearly they're happy with you, so they've now offered you a couple more, is that right?
About 2 weeks ago, we finally did the revision on the second one of my 2-book contract.
And what's that one called?
It's got a working title at the moment. They haven't picked the actual...
Okay, yes.
So she sent me an email, Flo sent me an email to say they'd accepted the novel, it was going through, and would I like a second 2-book contract, which I accepted.
2 books.
So I'm writing the third one at the moment.
Okay. So when you write, do you sit in a room and just focus and just sit and write for hours and hours, or is it something that you spur of the moment?
Try not to write for too long at a time at the computer, but I do some by hand when we're in the car or travelling.
Yeah.
But I'm not a plotter. I tend to just sit and write.
And see where the characters take you. Yeah. You said that Flo was very helpful, the lady from Mills and Boons, helping you to edit, if you like, the storylines, things where you got a little bit bogged down in what you'd written?
She went through the manuscript and then she picked out places where she thought, yeah, I could put in more emotion, take out too many characters or tend to... so that the focus is on the hero and the heroine. She definitely made the book much, much better.
Okay. And that's just experience, isn't it?
Yes.
The next novel you write, you probably look at and go, yes, you've nailed it now.
Well, the second one didn't take as many.
No, exactly. Which is, once again, what we're talking about here is that it's all a learning process for all of us, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you'd never written a book before, but now you've written one. And and now you're writing the second one, and each time you do it, it gets a bit easier.
Well, actually, I've got a few hidden in the computer and in the filing cabinet. The first ones I wrote were very much tell, not show.
Yes.
And needed a lot of revision if they were ever to come out to light. So,
do you think now that you've got this creative outlet, do you think it's changed you? Do you feel that you're more fulfilled, perhaps, or?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, definitely the.
So, what encouragement, or what would you advise if we've got some viewers out there today who have got these ideas in their head? What would you suggest that they do?
Sit down and write.
Just sit down and write.
Just sit down and write. Take courses to help you.
What sort of courses?
The South Australian Writers' Centre, they do courses on how to write, how to start, how to pitch, how to get published.
Yeah.
There are some online courses. I haven't done any. I've done a few there. The TAFE, I did a couple of courses at TAFE when I first started. And depending on, find a writing group. Local writing groups are very good.
Group.
I belong to a small writing group at Para Hills that I really enjoy because I'm the only romance writer there.
Ah.
But we have poets and people who write short stories and memoirs.
Yes.
So you get a broader out view of what's going on.
What's going on?
Find a group that's possibly
That's right
writing
for
your
you.
genre
Sure.
and join them.
Well, thank you, Bella, so much for coming in.
Thank
This
you.
is the book again, Bella Buchanan's Bound by the Unborn Baby. It looks like an interesting book and one that I think I'll be certainly getting onto and having a look at. So if you've got some ideas and you'd like to write a book, take Bella up on her ideas and go with it, because you never know. You might be the next, well, not J.K. Rowling, because she writes in a different genre completely, but you might be a Bella Buchanan one day. Bella, thank you so much for coming in today. Been lovely to talk with you, and we'll look forward to following your future writings. Thank you for listening or watching too today, and now we're going to have a short break and back with more Our Time soon.
And welcome back to Our Time. Now, Janice,
Yes.
you've had 3 sons.
I have.
You know, when you hold them in your arm and you rock them to sleep, you have no idea how big they're going to get.
That's right.
Or what they're going to do in life.
Their own life.
And
Career.
next guest is the current Mr. Australia. And I remember holding him in my arms when he was a couple of weeks old, and he was this big.
Like to see him
and
try
look at him now,
like to see him.
Christopher. Welcome to Our Time.
Thank you.
You don't remember that, of course, when I held your arms when you were a little
not
tiny
really,
boy?
no.
And I had no idea, as I've watched you grow up, that you would end up doing this. And I haven't seen you for about 8 years or something.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We've talked about you, but I had no idea you'd grown so big. So how did you get into bodybuilding?
Well, I used to play. Well, actually, my dad used to take me to the gym when I was a kid.
Yes,
And,
he needed it. He used to be my best friend. He was a 3-pound weakling.
Yeah.
Played guitar. Nerd in the bedroom.
Yeah, well, I don't know much about that, but yeah, he used to take me to the gym, Gold's Gym, when I was a kid. And I remember going in there and watching him doing weights and wanted to do it, and he wouldn't let me train until I was a certain age. He goes, "No, it's bad for you."
Well, he was right with that,
Well,
yes.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, and one day when he started letting me train, and one day I pointed up because there was a big black and white photo of Arnie. This would have been in the early 90s, you know.
It's Schwarzenegger you're talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, sorry, yeah. And there was a big black and white photo of him, and I pointed at him and I said, "I want to look like that." And he just turned around and he said, "That's a lot of work." And yeah, I'm still striving to reach that because he was considered the best ever.
Well, obviously
Well,
you've done pretty well for yourself.
Incredible. Let's have a look at some photos of you, because, I mean, looking at you there clothed, you've no idea how big you are underneath this. Look at this.
That's not you.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
me.
you?
That was me last November.
Oh my God, no.
How long though before this did you have to start working at? Who's the girl?
That's my other half, Naomi. She was a godsend. I wouldn't have got that title if it wasn't for her.
Is she a trainer?
She's my other half. She used
but
to
she was-
be a bodybuilder. Now
Okay.
she just
Whips you into shape, obviously.
She kicks my butt into shape.
Okay.
Yeah, make sure I do everything I'm told. No, but she, that's my coach. He's the best in the, well, in my opinion, the best
He
coach
looks
in the
like
world.
The Rock.
He was actually one of the best bodybuilders in the world for about 11 years. He went to the most prestige competition in the world, which is called Mr. Olympia, which is what Arnold Schwarzenegger went on and won. He won 7. Dennis James is his name, and yeah, I got in contact with him, and he saw something in me, and we've worked together for 4 years, and in 4 years, like what we put together, we managed to bring a package that was good enough to win Australia.
Well, so it's obviously also about diet and the work that
It's
you're
all
doing.
about diet,
It's
yeah.
all about diet. But what about all the hours you're training in the gym?
You can train as much as you want. If you don't feed your body right, it won't work.
But you didn't come from a medical background or anything, so you've obviously got to rely on people to give you the right info.
Well, yeah, I listened to Dennis, my coach. He's an encyclopedia of nutritional advice and training advice as well. So, you know, people say, is it 100% this? What is it? And I said, well, it's 100% training, it's 100% diet, and it's 100% hard work and cardio. I mean, you have to do cardio. I do. Not everybody does. Some people can get away without it, but I have to do cardio to lose body fat.
Is it the diet? Does that consist of the 5 main food groups? I mean, is it sort of a regimented diet that you
Like
have?
ice cream, chips,
Yeah, there
lollies
was
and-
none of that, believe me. No, for about 16 weeks, for about 4 months, you have. It was a diet. Ate about 9-10 times a day, but it was every...
So small amounts, a lot,
No,
a lot.
it
Oh,
was
a lot.
big amounts. Believe it or not, I eat more when I'm getting ready for a show. You wouldn't think it, but yeah, I do. Because your metabolism gets... You speed your metabolism up, you do fasted cardio, so on and so forth. And your body just becomes a machine. And you can just eat and eat and eat and eat and just
But
use
this is part of the working to become this.
Yes.
So is your whole life like this, or is it just prior to the competitions?
My whole life revolved around it, yes.
Yeah. Well, it got you one of these. Now, this one here, this one was for a state award.
First of all, before you go to the Nationals, you do your state show in your own state. This was for the South Australian title. They've got two divisions. They've got under 90 kilos and over 90 kilos, and I won that. So yes.
So that was the beginning. But then who said, right, you've got to go for the big one?
My other half of my coach, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was last year?
It was last year in November, about a week after that one. So I went over to the Gold Coast and competed at the Nationals and the Amateur Olympia over there. And yeah, it was amazing experience. I met some amazing people, which is probably one of the things I cherish more about it, is I got to meet such champions, such as guys like Mark Gretsch and Pilates. These guys are bodybuilders that have won numerous amounts of titles, and yet they still remain very humble and good people that don't get up themselves.
Well, I guess the reality is you know how hard it is to get to that point, don't you?
It took every ounce of everything I had to get that title. I had nothing left after, but it was worth it.
What's next for you? Are you in training now for the next competition?
I'm always in training, and I'm always on a diet, even an off-season diet. You know, you don't look like you do there all year round. No, you don't. If I showed you what I look like now, I look a little bit different. But
It's still pretty
Get your
big.
gear off. Let's have a look.
No, but we're working out which show to do next.
Okay.
Between me and my coach, and yeah, he wants me to go for my pro card. Once you go for your pro card, pretty much, obviously, then you're a pro athlete, and you go against the best in the world, and that is
Your aim. That's the aim.
that's my goal. Yeah, and the benefit is at the moment they have what's called the Arnold Classic, which is run by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Australia. He
was here recently, wasn't he?
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
Before that?
Was
Yeah, I
before
went
that,
to the
wasn't
show.
it?
I went to watch the show.
Yeah.
I'm also friends with the promoter, Tony Doherty. He's because they work together now, because he did a show, the biggest Australian show prior to that, and now Arnold actually approached him and asked him to be his business partner. And I would like to do that show. That's my goal, and I'd like, everyone's got a goal, but whoever wins that show, the overall, Arnold comes and raises your hand, and you're a pro. So that's a pretty good.
So do you think this might lead for you to either be a personal trainer, or
Well, that's what I do now. That's what I do. Yeah, I'm a personal trainer, and I've got a bunch of awesome sponsorships through ANS and Powerhouse Gym, Pro Fitness.
Well, you need those things to make it possible.
Yeah, it does, because it's expensive to be a bodybuilder. You have to eat a lot of food, and you need a lot of supplements. And I was lucky enough to be sponsored by these guys, and they've been taking care of me amazingly. Also, I'm sponsored by a clothing line, Accused Clothing.
Because you'd need a big size, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they get the sizes
bigger
from
than we need.
I like to wear big baggy clothes, so yeah, I don't. Yeah, so they've taken really great care of me. Even my butcher, my local butcher, he sponsored
He'd
me.
love you.
I put his kids through college. No, that was amazing. But I was blessed because I had so many amazing people help me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have got to where I was if it wasn't my parents and all the rest of it.
But you had a good focus in life, and I guess the trick to being successful is eventually finding what it is you want to do and be.
Yeah, I believe. See, people say to me, I could never do that, I couldn't diet. And I say, well, the difference is between you and me. I want to, you don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're very good at if you're putting 100% into whatever you wanted to do in your life, I'm sure you're very successful at it.
Yeah.
But that's what I put all of my life energy into, and that's why I believe I can continue to grow in the sport.
So do you think the movies will be a future for you, as it was for Schwarzenegger?
Movies, I haven't really thought about that.
You could take acting classes just in case.
Yeah, I don't know if yeah.
I don't know if
He's been an actor all his life. What do you mean?
No, I was going to say, but I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger ever had an acting class.
No,
did he?
but you know, I have read a bit about him, and he was just really focused about he was going to be the best bodybuilder in the world. Then he wanted to be a movie star and the best movie star he could possibly be. Well, he certainly
achieved
I mean,
that,
it's a
didn't he?
name that everybody knows worldwide. Christopher Jarvis. Well, you prefer to be called Topher?
Oh gosh, wow, that one hurts. Thank you, Malcolm.
It's all right, I can hear your dad laughing.
Yeah, he's laughing very hard, as I would be too. No, my dad calls me Topher, short for Christopher. Haha. Yeah.
I don't know, it's a good catchy name, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very few selective, select few call me that. But yeah,
I've just
You're
selected
select-
myself.
I think a few more people are going to call me that now. But oh well.
I should tell you though, Chris also, when he was much younger, came and painted scenery with me as a
Yes.
bit of a
You gave
work
me my first
experience.
job.
And I wasn't that easy with you either.
No, you were tough. I didn't like it. Thank you. Though.
There you go.
No, but you know, all of those little things in life are the things that drive you towards a future goal.
Exactly.
And it's the influences people have along the way that makes it happen.
I like it. Yeah, I've been.
Well, we're
surrounded.
all very proud of you, mate, that you've achieved what you've achieved, and good luck for the future.
Thank you very much.
With where it's going to go for you.
Well, that's to be decided yet. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, well, so how long do you think you've got in the future that you can continue to compete? Quick answer.
Quick answer, most bodybuilders stop around 42. I'm only 32, so I'm still a baby in the sport. And I've still got a lot of work to do. I'm very aware of that. I'm not thinking that I've got, you know... The best guy in the world at the moment, his name's Phil Heath, and he won the biggest title in the world, which is Mr. Olympia, and he actually said he won with perfect scores, like flawless, and he won.
Well-
and he turned around and he said, I know I can look better, so if someone like that could say that, then we all, the rest of us,
Keep trying.
need to keep
Yeah.
improving.
Keep trying.
Well, good luck. There's
Yeah.
Christopher Jarvis, and who knows what the future will be for him. But right now we're going to find out a little about cars and finance
We are.
with Ken and Gary Dickerson.
Thinking of buying a new car, a second-hand car, getting finance? This bloke's going to help you. Gary Tank Dickerson from AA Family Motors. How are you, Gary?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Now, listen, I remember you used to be a crash repairer, didn't you?
That's right.
Now you're heading up an empire.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, how'd you get started?
Well, we used to do a lot of the car yards work, and then after 20 years I got sick of making them the money, so I thought I might have a crack at doing it myself. So somebody offered me a job, and away you go. 14 years later, now I own
You
the
got
place.
your own, you own it, and
Yep.
we'll talk about cars because we're going to be talking to you for a while.
Yep.
It's fraught with danger, or it can be, can't it? It's traps for the unwary.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, you got to know what car and what cars have problems and try and stick away from them and give the public a good car.
How do you find that out?
Well, common knowledge. You just know by basically the papers, or you know, you have a car and you buy one, and then you find out they've got all kinds of problems, so you stay clear of them.
Well, I'm just looking. Yeah, you look an honest bloke, so they can ask you, and you would steer people in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what that's what I like to do, you know.
Yeah. Well, you're never going to see him again if you don't, are you?
That's right. I've got plenty of repeat business.
Well, that's nice. AA Family Motors. Where do people find you?
Jeps Cross, right next to the drive-in down there.
Fantastic. Thanks, Gary.
We hope you've enjoyed our program. It's been a busy program today.
It has been.
Heavens, it has.
Very interesting. And I'm fascinated talking to Bella about this new book because I've got some ideas in my head. I think I might go home and start writing myself.
Well, I'm writing my life story. Write your life story.
Really?
Yeah, you had a fascinating life story.
Are you writing your own life story?
I am actually, yes.
What a good idea.
It's called...
The Malcolm Haslett
No,
story.
it's called Have I Been On Yet, which is an old theatrical
Yeah, it
saying.
is. I know.
But I've got to spill the beans.
What's that?
Now, already I've introduced Chris, saying that I've known him since he was a baby.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But the thing that coincidentally happened is that, who is this lady to you?
It's my mother.
No way. You're Bella Buchanan's son?
No,
Yeah, I know.
nobody believes it
Scary, isn't
here.
it?
Nobody believes it. What did she feed you as a baby?
What I enjoyed or what I didn't enjoy.
Oh, okay, well, obviously you enjoyed something and a lot of it.
I didn't enjoy the chops.
Oh, okay. What, the way she did this to you?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. How bold am I, this man mountain here?
Yes, you are a bit of a man mountain.
Well, thank you.
I mean that in a really nice way.
No, that's cool.
How long have you been doing this sort of working out?
8 years now.
8 years.
8 years,
Yes.
yeah. So.
And he's only 16.
And Mr. Australia.
Yes, I was lucky enough to win an Australian title, which last year, which was awesome.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, it's the hard work, though, Chris, that you've had to put in. That's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's not easy, but...
Was Mum encouraging?
Yes, a lot.
See, you don't know what your kids are going to end up doing in life, do
Honestly.
you? And that's the last thing you probably would have thought about. And here's the other news. Her other son is a wrestler.
Is that right?
He is.
Is that right?
Isn't that incredible?
And you see, she was so busy raising you boys, she never had the time to do anything for herself, and now she's writing.
Now she writes.
It's
Yes.
a beautiful thing.
Whenever I go around, she's in her room writing.
In a room, writing.
And I'm sure she's got a lot of stories that she could probably incorporate your life experiences into as well.
wish she wouldn't.
That'll be another program at another time. But
Yes, baby.
we have to leave you now. We'd just like to remind you that you can find out a lot more about OurTime on Facebook. That's what I'm trying to say. So find us on Facebook, and you can also download some of the programs from the past. So until next time on OurTime, keep yourself nice till then.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.